open as the last two maps.
Yeah, almost certainly we're going to see a early expand from White Raw. That's just how Shakur's Plateau plays out for Protoss. And PhoeNix could do any number of things. We've seen a lot of people. A lot of Zerg players opt for like really aggressive roach play, hatch cancel, roach bust, one base, roach all in, even two bases with like 25 drones going with some roaches. Those are kind of viable, but Shakur's Plateau is one of the easiest bases to expand safely on. So what I think is a lot more realistic is a fast 3 base from the Zerg side of things, and just a straight up big macro play style through the mid game.
In the bottom left, we have the man who is going to be capable of taking down the undefeated player in his group. Will it happen in this match? Give a cheer for PhoeNix.
And up here on the other side of the screen, top right-hand corner, already guaranteed to advance from the group, the Ukrainian Protoss player, White Raw. Everybody loves White Raw.
Now, White Raw, of course, is doing the very standard, plopping this pylon down, easily going to be able to wall off and get himself up a fast first expansion. But it's the third base, the second expansion, that's the problem. This third base is very wide out and spread open. You have these two large entrances, and of course, when you're taking that base, it leaves your main completely wide open and vulnerable. Zerg, on the other hand, don't really care that much when they take this as their third base, as they can just join these two together with creep and do easy, big roach plays. So it almost guarantees a 2 versus 3 base situation in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to piggyback off what you're saying there, Zerg likes expanding far away from his main, because that means if Protoss takes his army to kill an expansion, he's way out of position for either a counterattack, or he's committing his army to like a fairly narrow area where he might never get out of. You know, if for example, PhoeNix were to take a third base over here at the top left natural, his army's now stuck up at the top of that ramp, and he's got to get down. He's got to come out against whatever army PhoeNix has waiting for him.
And it looks like PhoeNix is definitely going to go into some kind of big macro play, as we are seeing no gas at all. There's the hatchery going down. Often you'll see players delay their second queen. They'll get the first one up right away to obviously help pick off probes, help get the larva injects up, but getting that third hatch even before the 4-minute mark is a very, very common play on this map.
Yeah, absolutely. PhoeNix is, I mean, has he started that queen yet? Will he? Yes, he's going to go ahead and get one queen. And what you often see is a Zerg player get one queen and then just save up for 300 minerals and go ahead and go throw down that third base. If you were to wait for a second queen, it's still not that much of a difference. You can have your third up by about 5 minutes. I guess those are two options.
We do see White Raw now finishing up that forge. Will generally try to do a little bit more scouting, maybe get away with building the gateway before the pylon, but hilariously, even though it seems completely obvious how to wall it off, this is, I think, the most common wall-off mess-up map that I have seen in any tournaments.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times do you see a forge here and then the Zerglings just waltz right on in? I mean, there's a Zealot down there to block, but there was something a little bit off.
Right.
We see White Raw even moving forward with this probe. This is a very suspiciously placed probe to me.
I think he's just trying to keep a probe out on the map. He's going to let PhoeNix chase this one guy back and then run the other one right past. Yes, in fact, that's exactly what happens. So in spite of PhoeNix's attempts at denying information, White Raw is still going to have that probe out so he can sneak it in for a scout. He can maybe cannon a third base if he wants to. Tons and tons of options for White Raw in this regard.
Can White Raw beat the one drone there? It looks like the answer is no, and as you were saying, plopping that third hatch down right before the 5-minute mark. But White Raw, knowing exactly what's up, this does give him the freedom to do whatever response he thinks is best. We see the complete wall off from White Raw. I would generally skew this a little bit more towards airplay, but White Raw does love doing some kooky things where he ends up getting a lot of upgrades, a really big delayed army, and often kind of a surprisingly fast third.
I mean, it's not unfathomable for a Protoss player to completely wall in and then knock down a forge or a gateway later. So those are some things that we could be seeing. Airplay, another option. I just feel like airplay is becoming sort of old school in Robo.
Robo play? Oh, White Raw. If you build a warp prism.
Oh, you know he's gonna.
If you build a warp prism, White Raw, you will win some sort of imaginary medal in our hearts.
He already has that medal in my heart, Sean.
He needs to win one every game, damn it. I want to see the Warp Prism.
I think almost certainly he will. I would say some sort of Warp Prism gateway aggression is what's most likely, with maybe sentries force fielding a ramp somewhere and Zealots being warped in to be annoying. And that can be really tough to deal with. On the other hand, I guess it's also feasible that he's just wanting to get an observer out so he can see what's up and take a third.
Evolution Chamber now finishing up. This will give PhoeNix a chance to start that ever-essential upgrade set. A single Zealot arrives to start doing some good whack and damage up at that top left hatchery. Doesn't look like there's going to be very much that PhoeNix can do with just his existing defenses.
He's got some Lings about to pop out, but he's actually sending both of his queens over.
Yeah, that seems like kind of a clear blunder. That means he really will not be able to get up extra larva at this hatchery. So that choice surprises me quite a bit. Warp Prism immediately popping up, but he will have a 1 gateway with Warp Gate plus 1 Warp Prism. So that's kind of cool, but it looks like he is going for the Colossus drop.
Really?
No.
I mean, I don't know. I saw White Rod play with Colossus drop in the past. I'm kind of feeling like this is just for Warp Prism speed, but I guess it's completely feasible that it's a Colossus drop.
You know what's interesting? I mean, I saw Liquid Hero going for the... Oh, he's doing both.
He's going to do
Colossus,
both.
Warp Prism with speed. This is actually a very effective play. When you do the drop, you can warp in 6 Zealots, and there's not a good composition for Zerg to deal with that. Almost every engagement, no matter how small it ends up being, you'll get a little bit of an edge with those Colossus drops. Here comes the huge swell of gateways. Oh, wow. 6 gateways in the main, the 7th at the front.
Oh, my goodness. You think White Rod's going to be a little bit all in with this?
Well, I mean, it's going to be one of those extended all-ins. He needs to do a ton of damage on 2 bases. He can't really get a third up comfortably ever. So unless he does a huge amount of damage, it's going to be a rough position for him to be in. And here it comes. Colossus drop.
Already on the way. I'm already liking PhoeNix's play. He's got Lings back in his main base as if he's almost expecting some kind of drop play. Doesn't have any idea that the Warp Prism is out, though. Okay, just a single Colossus in that Warp Prism. And he's making a second Colossus, and it's just rallied all the way across the map. He's going to be a little bit vulnerable for a little while.
That is true. This Colossus is kind of oddly positioned to rally cross map, and here it comes. Popping right up into the main immediately. That has got to be a big surprise.
I'm sorry, this just looks ridiculous to me. A Warp Prism.
Yeah, look at this tiny little thing. Look at that gigantic Colossus. Oh no, he's in phasing. He's going to have to load back up and run. And PhoeNix amazingly has a very well-articulated answer to fast Colossus drop.
Yeah, for now. I mean, we do see White Rod warping in those reinforcements. 5 Stalkers.
I don't know what else to do but just laugh. That is the silliest. And he wanted it to do that. He is intentionally sending that Colossus. I'm safe.
It's okay. I walk on high ground.
And it looks like White Rod is going to just morph a gigantic army. He does need to get that range finish, though. He won't be able to do that much. And he's just waltzing right up with the rest of the army.
That is so ridiculous. So all of a sudden, White Rod's force looking quite formidable. He's got a couple of sentries out, so he can throw down some force fields if he wants. And PhoeNix is like, I don't even want to defend this.
On the run. And yeah, it looks like he's just going to pull back flat out. More Zealots being warped in, and amazingly, White Rod gets the clean kill on the top left expansion.
Yeah, not even having to trade anything. These spine crawlers being utterly useless. There's no spire that I can see anywhere in sight, so PhoeNix is going to try to defend this with pure roach, and that's going to be hard.
PhoeNix, though, does have the rally points set back into his main. I mean, he had a nice answer at the start, but we see the roaches starting to move forward. We see, waltzing right on up. 1 Colossus is down. The second Colossus is going to take some huge damage, and there it ends up falling.
PhoeNix.
Nice answer, and meanwhile...
with the burrow as well, but there is an observer. Is there an observer? Yeah, no.
And it looks like White Rod will have to do the mass retreat. Zealots do manage to pick off that 3rd expansion attempt. He's going to load up and pull back into the main. So again, White Rod needed to do the damage to be in good shape, but it wasn't damage to get ahead. It was damage to stay even, and that's exactly what we seem to have, a very even game where PhoeNix needs to begin battling to get a 3rd up.
Was it enough damage, though? He sacrificed 2 Colossi for that. We see White Rod is going to go ahead and knock down his front door. Are 2 Colossi worth an expansion? He didn't really kill any drones. He didn't really kill any army. Handful of roaches.
Well, I mean, if we just look at the units lost tab, we see it's pretty even. Not that many workers were actually killed off. We actually opened that menu up, just a pair of workers knocked down by White Rod. It's going to be about establishing this 3rd expansion. That is the #1 safety move that White Rod will have to do. He's going to be in defensive mode, and with that range upgrade done, I think he's going to be in good shape against a small roach army. He's got to be careful.
Sentries, Day 9. He cannot force field. He cannot use Guardian Shield. He loses that Colossus. But this time there is an Observer in tow. So PhoeNix will have to retreat immediately. So doing a nice job picking off a Colossus. A cute Warp Prism play here, dropping some Zealot. Oh, wow, actually trapping a couple roaches. Really cute play by White Ra. He's going to go ahead and push forward. White Ra's army is kind of scary.
I mean, this is the silliest thing I've ever seen. I'm going to have Zealots and Stalkers and Aerial Zealots against Roaches. And he's going for it. He's dropping them right down in the front line. He's morphing in more Stalkers, just has so many basic gateway units. White Ra has a very clear sense of what the Protoss army can and cannot do. And a closing push is in store. Unbelievable. White Ra with the great read, just picking off a huge number of roaches. The top left expansion vulnerable yet again. White Ra knows exactly where he wants to attack, and another Colossus making its way across the middle of the map.
This is standard play for White Ra. He's just going to walk in, join the fray. This Colossus will get picked off. Yes, it does fall, but God, I don't think PhoeNix has enough to deal with the Gateway army.
And this Warp Prism, the real hero of this game, until he canceled those 2 gateway units.
This is a heap of Stalker metal there on the ground.
I mean, warping in right in the center. PhoeNix doesn't even have time to regroup. And the 3rd expansion is up for White Ra, but there's been no transfer. It's actually quite unsafe at this point in time.
With some Zerglings in the mix, PhoeNix might be able to clean up this army. Can he save the expansion? Ooh.
He does. 17 health.
Wow.
Very nice play.
Wow, barely saving that. Like, it would have taken 1.5 more shots from a Stalker or a Zealot. And PhoeNix going to push the issue once again. White Ra has a single Colossus out, still no sentries. So he's going to have no ability to really control space actively. PhoeNix does not want to commit to this attack, it looks like.
And with that Warp Prism speed, White Ra immediately going to go for the expansion. Oh, there's the transfuse. The triple transfuse, trying to get that back up to health. White Ra looks like he is going for the Doom Drop, trying to just eliminate that last bit of health.
Ooh, and I think he sees that it has been transfused. He's not going to commit to that. So
Either that or he heard it from cross map, because transfuse is the loudest sound effect I've ever heard.
These Zealots kind of unload down here in the, well, I guess this is the 4th base now. Killing a single drone before picking up, so White Ra just continuing to be very aggressive with this Warp Prism. Not only does it give him a lot of harassment options, but it's a great scouting tool.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's getting the chance to see exactly what's up. Right now he knows that that Spire is done. That one Spine Crawler not going to be enough to deflect this attack. He's going to pick that off, not real damage, but upon loading back up, he knows exactly where the vulnerable spots are.
PhoeNix going to take that as his cue to counter. I don't think it's enough, though. There's 2 Colossi and a lot of Gateway units, so PhoeNix is going to have to back up once again. It's 170 supply for our Zerg player, 150 for White Ra. The worker count virtually identical. So
those poor probes were mining gas, got a little bit too militant too quickly. And now White Ra is going to try to make another push. This 4th base almost guaranteed to fall at this point in time. PhoeNix has so many roaches spread out all over the map, some at the back of his 2nd, some at his 3rd, most in the middle. He just does not really know where he wants to go, but PhoeNix is going to go for the 3rd base.
Doesn't want to fight the army. Interesting choice, but I think he's going to be trapped here. He's going to be forced into an engagement. I don't know if he'll be able to get this army out. Is he going to try to snipe off that Nexus? It looks like he wants to, but he's so committed now, Day 9.
Oh no, every kind of unit from White Ra coming from every angle. Can he manage to pick it off? Oh, nice hot pickup there. Getting the Warp Prism up to high ground with that one Colossus, and now White Ra is continuing to storm the center of the map. PhoeNix trying to find some out. Oh no, and it looks like the force fields will end up picking off a lot of roaches, but PhoeNix may have bought himself a little bit more space, and can he? No,
wow,
he doesn't
excellent control by White Ra, taking care to babysit those Colossi. And PhoeNix, once again, not getting the most bang for his buck. Kills the Nexus, but loses an army.
But White Ra, though, must win with this huge push. I mean, the main is essentially mined out for White Ra's expansion. Is running very thin. More Stalkers pushing through the center of the map. This is it, the final battle. Oh, a lot of roaches. PhoeNix may have done a series of incredible decisions to pull himself back in this position. The drones don't quite know whether to attack or to go mine.
God,
great micro.
Unbelievable micro. White Ra putting the Colossi up into the Warp Prism. As soon as they get focused, that's essentially wasted damage on the Colossi. And now PhoeNix has a paltry force to deal with this terrifying Gateway Colossus army from White Ra.
And now it looks like the 3rd base falls for a 3rd time. The drones burrow, but the Observer there will not let them stay alive for long. With almost no mining bases anywhere, White Ra may have secured a 3rd win in his group here at Dreamhack winner 2011.
Absolute dominance here coming from White Raw. He's going to clean up the last of PhoeNix's army, and he's going to push forward towards the third base. PhoeNix just does not have really any sort of an answer to what White Raw's throwing as well. We see 2 roaches in production, 4 now, but obviously he's going to need a lot more than that to take out these 3 Colossi and, I don't know, 24 or so Stalkers.
A zany series of decisions created an absolutely crazy game, but White Raw with that amazing pick-up land micro with the Colossus, helping him get all the way up to the natural expansion, now ripping apart everything that's at the front. The drones are running another hatch, trying to be planted. That 4th attempt at that third base. So many gateways from White Raw allows him to reinforce via warp prisms quite easily. We see almost no roaches on the field for PhoeNix, but he is not giving up yet. He is determined to hang in here till the last second.
Yeah, he's setting up one final flank, but the DPS of this Protoss army is just so high. PhoeNix has got units on both sides, but I just don't see it happening.
Trying to burrow, trying to heal those roaches back up, but with that many Colossus and the warp prism to micro and to do warp in reinforce. Oh, a force field at the ramp. And we see the roaches and drones trying to hit from the south, but there's the good game. White Raw undefeated in group number E, looking so solid.
I think he only dropped a single map, and that was to PhoeNix. So excellent play from White Raw as he kicked